When I started Nurse Says, my dad was my #1 fan. He sent it to everyone. He was so proud of me that he was telling everybody around him about what I'm doing. So I know that my dad will be really proud of me for making this video to help others like me. Hi everybody, my name is Paula and welcome to Nurse Says. Today we're going to be talking about the things that I learned through my grieving process after my dad passed on last year. And basically I just want to share the things that we don't normally think about, or things that are not normally talked about in the process of grieving. I guess what really triggered or what inspired this video would be the upcoming Father's Day. The past few weeks I've also been missing my dad a lot, and I found myself just kind of thinking about him and thinking a lot about the memories that we had. That's despite him being gone for 9 months now already. Without further ado, let's start. The very first thing that I learned is that grieving is a very messy and never-ending process. Some of you might be familiar with the 5 stages of grief. The 5 stages of grief is a concept that revolves around the different stages that we go through as we grieve about something or someone. I have it on my phone here. The 5 stages of grief consists of denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. What I really like about these 5 stages of grief is that it shows you the different stages. Obviously, it shows you the different stages that a person can be throughout the grieving process. What I want to say is that, first of all, these stages of grief can actually start before losing someone. As for the case of my dad, I know that the denial started coming even before, even from the time that he was diagnosed with cancer and up until he passed on already. I know my family and I faced some sort of denial. For me, the process of grieving actually started from the time of diagnosis. And I also want to say that this is not like a staircase that you need to reach. For example, you don't start off in denial and then go to anger and then go to bargaining and then go to depression and then acceptance. You will jump around. The stages will jump around. You can go from denial to bargaining to anger and then jump back to depression and then back to denial. Even until now, I think my family and I are still in the process of going back and forth. Basically, I just want everybody to know that it doesn't follow this hierarchical stage where you really must go from denial to anger to bargaining to depression and acceptance. And it's okay that it's messy. It's okay that you jump around the stages. But what you should know is you should have an idea where you stand. When you lose someone, there's a lot of confusion together with a sense of loss. You may feel like everything is changing, but it's okay to have a messy and non-linear journey through grief. The second thing that I want everybody to know is that death doesn't mean gone. Death is not equals to losing that person forever. Death doesn't mean that your loved one is gone. So this is very, very evident in blah blah blah. This is very, very evident in my dad's case because we still talk about him. So you can still talk about your loved ones. Whenever, sometimes, you know, the 4 of us, I have 2 siblings and then my mom. The 4 of us will be talking, we'll be eating and then we'll be talking, and we'll be constantly talking about my dad and what he's gonna say, because somebody did this, or what he's gonna do because my dad is a joker. And yeah, I guess I just want to say that you can still talk about that person, because yeah, you can still talk about that person. You can reminisce the things that they've done. It's okay to talk about them, because honestly, who wants to be forgotten? When you pass on, can you honestly tell yourself that you want to be forgotten? For me, I don't. I don't want to be forgotten. And I know that my dad, having the personality that he had, a joker and basically just the clown of the the gathering, he would not want to be forgotten. He would always want to be talked about, talked to, and therefore, yeah, they are still very much present, And sometimes my siblings and I, because we are used to saying like, oh, I'm gonna call parents, or I wonder where parents are at, or like, oh, I'm going to parents' room. And we still say it, and then we catch ourselves and we feel a sense of that, it's just parent now. But it's okay, you can still say parents' room. You can still say that I'm going to mom and dad's. You can still say that you're going to your grandparents, because the physical body might be gone, but the memories are still there. And I think it's the least that we can do to remember them. Yeah. Which brings me to my next point. I can't see my notes anymore because of this tears. Okay, which brings me to my next point, which is, I'm gonna put my notes right here so that I can read it. I can't actually read them anymore. No. Okay, you saw my notes, love. Okay, moving on versus moving forward. Things, memories, and laughter will stay with you forever. We shouldn't move on. We don't want to move on. What we want to do is to move forward despite the pain. What we want to do is to move with the pain. You can't say to somebody to, just move on and forget about it, because this is somebody's life that we're talking about. I was the only medical person in the family, so I understood perfectly what was happening to him. And from a medical standpoint, I feel like I have a lot of regrets from things I should have done, things I should have seen coming, things I should have raised to the doctors early. And even until now, it's hard to live with that. And yeah, but what I'm doing is, instead of dwelling on that, I actually use those regrets or those guilt that I was feeling in order to provide better care for my patients. So I don't bury my emotions, I don't bury my hurt, I don't bury my regrets. Instead, I use those regrets or the guilt that I was feeling in order to not repeat the same thing with my patients, and to help my patients and their relatives to cope with whatever similar things that they're going through in life. And yeah, I feel like that has helped a lot. I just want everybody to know that it's okay. Like, we don't need to forget people. We don't need to forget that they ever existed, and it's okay to celebrate their lives, because it's a new chapter in our lives, but it's still the same book. And when you're reading a book, you don't just forget the chapter before the chapter that you're reading. You read it as a whole. I also want to emphasize that sadness is not bad. Sadness is not an enemy. Sadness is healthy. It's a normal human emotion. Sadness is a natural thing to feel when somebody that you love passes on. Sadness is not something that shouldn't exist. So in the same way, you don't congratulate someone over their achievement and then just suddenly say like, get over it, like, congratulations, you graduated, okay, now get over it. So in the same way, right, you don't tell people to move on and get over the loss of somebody, because that's just unfair. You are asking someone to forget, you're asking someone to get over, you're asking someone to move on from the memories, from the life that they've built with that person. So yeah, let's all be a little bit more sensitive. And for those of you who are watching this who lost someone, I just want to remind you not to move on, but instead to move forward with the pain, move forward with the fear, the anger, all the emotions that you are feeling. The danger in this moving on thing is when somebody didn't manage to move on or didn't achieve that kind of getting over it after a few weeks or after a few months, it's seen as a failure, it's seen as a weakness, but it's actually not, because we are not meant to move on. We are just meant to move forward with it. Okay, let's move on. We're only on the fourth and this is getting long already. The fourth thing I guess that I want to say is all wounds are not meant to heal perfectly. I just want to liken this process of grief to a wound. When you first get the wound, it's going to be very, very painful. There will be this acute sense of pain that you don't know what to do, you don't know how you're gonna live without the person who passed on. You don't know how you're gonna continue life. Just like all wounds, with time and with effort, it's gonna slowly heal. And day by day, as time passes, it's gonna start feeling a little better. Yeah, I just wanna remind everybody that there will be an acute sense of loss, but there will be a chronic sense of loss that you cannot just suddenly shake off, and it will forever be there. There will always be reminders about the person, just like how you always have a scar when you get a wound. Yeah, we just learn to accept that and find ways to move forward with it. Okay, the last thing that I want everyone to know is that grief is actually love with nowhere to go. When you feel so much love for someone and that love has nowhere to go because that someone may have left, that turns into grief. I feel like love is constant. In the case of my dad, I know that my love for him is forever. And if love is forever, then grief will be there forever as well. If grief is love with nowhere to go, and my love for my dad is forever, then grief will be forever too. And that kind of links back to the previous points where I said that you don't move on, you just move forward, and that there will always be a chronic sense of loss and chronic pain that you're feeling whenever this topic comes up. So see, right now, even though it's been 9 months, and I'm trying my best not to like have a full-blown breakdown, I feel like with grief, you just learn to live with it. And I'm not saying that in a bad way. I'm not saying, oh, you just learn to live with it. No, you learn to live with it. You learn to derive joy from it. you push through. I guess a simpler way to put this is you have to create a new normal around it. When you lose someone, you can't ever go back to how things were. And frankly speaking, I don't want to go back to how things were. Because there's someone missing. How can you possibly go back to how it was before? And therefore, you have to create a new normal around it. You know, the thing that I'm the saddest about after my dad passed on is that he won't even see me graduate. He won't even see me walk down the aisle when I get married. He won't be able to meet my partner. He won't be able to take care of my kids. But I know that I'll be talking about him to my partner, my kids, and everybody else who I'm gonna meet. I know he won't want to be forgotten. I don't want him to be forgotten. And I don't want to forget him. So I will always be talking about him. And that's also part of the reason why I'm doing this video. Because I want to be able to help people like me who are going through loss right now. And I want to be able to tell all of you that it won't ever disappear. The pain will forever be there. Sometimes more painful than some days. But you'll find ways to embrace it and find ways to turn that pain into something that your loved one will be proud of you for doing. I know when I started Nurse Says, my dad was my #1 fan. He sent it to everyone. When his workmates came to his wake, his workmates came up to me and were like, "Were you the one who started that page or who's on YouTube and blah blah blah? Were you the one who did the live session on Facebook with NUS?" And I mean, I know that my dad was very proud of me, but it was really at that moment when I realized that he was so proud of me that he was telling everybody around him about what I'm doing. So I know that my dad will be really proud of me for making this video to help others like me. I don't know. Okay, I should end this. It's super long already. Again, I just want to remind everybody that grief is a messy, never-ending process. And that's okay. It's okay that it's messy. It's okay to have a non-linear process of grief. And that dead doesn't mean gone. You can still talk about the person and look at photos, and it's okay to talk about them as if they were still here. Also that we don't have to move on, we just have to move forward. We have to move through, we have to move with the pain. The fourth one is that all wounds are not meant to heal perfectly, and therefore you will always remember the good things and the painful memories and things like that. But And there will always be an acute sense of loss when you just lose someone, and then comes the chronic sense of loss that it's like the baseline kind of sadness or grief that you feel. And that's alright, because who wants to be forgotten, right? I mean, I don't want to forget my dad. And the last one is that grief is not a bad thing, because grief is just love with nowhere to go. And I want everyone to remember that. Yeah. Thank you guys for watching this video. I turned emotional. I didn't even expect that I would cry in this video, because I thought, you know, I had it already. I had my points done, and it's just easy peasy. I'm just gonna tell you all like something factual, but I enjoy being genuine and raw in this channel, and I'm thankful to you guys for showing the support that you've been showing throughout this nurse's journey as well. Yeah. Okay, thank you guys for watching this video, and if you like it, please give it a thumbs up, and again, if you haven't already done so, you can subscribe to my channel for more healthcare tips and personal stories as I journey through this profession. Thank you guys, and see you next time. Bye.